The city of Los Angeles has an answer to its problem of homeless war veterans and has approved a deal to convert nuisance motels into 500 permanent supportive apartments to be given to homeless vets. Advocates are saying around 2,700 homeless vets remain on the streets in the county of Los Angeles. Now, under this new deal, developers will buy often rundown motels from the private owners and convert them to efficiency apartments. Well, we know that Los Angeles has been declared a state of emergency in terms of its homeless situation. We know Eric Garcetti said he's putting in $100 million. Everyone wanted to know, where is this money going to go? It's interesting to see that he's chosen to obviously focus initially on veterans, on homeless vets, 2,700 homeless vets on the streets of Los Angeles County. It is a very, very sad situation when these people have been servicing this country. This scheme is a pretty novel scheme, and it's getting a lot of praise. Firstly, because of the fact that it's immediate. You already have these buildings. You don't have to build new infrastructure. You don't have to go through a lot of red tape. New supportive housing could take years, like 4 or 5 years, and obviously cost a lot more money to build. So taking these rundown hotels, it means that residents don't have such a problem with it anyway, because these are unsightly nuisance motels, sorry, I call them hotels, nuisance motels that can be converted into something useful and given to our servicemen. I want to just read you a quote from Eric Garcetti, the mayor of Los Angeles. Here's what he had to say about it. He said, "Instead of allowing blighted properties to decay, let's use them to make powerful change in our communities by giving our veterans the access to services and housing that they need and deserve."
Amen to that. I think it's a great idea. But, you're going to have people on the other side saying things like, well, this is going to be so expensive, we shouldn't be throwing this money at these homeless people like that. It's wrong. There's other people who need it. Well, this is actually, in some way, I could make the argument that it's going to save the city a lot of money, because when you have these people out on the streets, first and foremost, it's dangerous. They're exposed to all sorts of crap. The ambulances are coming to pick them up if they're drinking too much, things like that. When you take them off the streets, you're putting them in a much safer environment. And what happens is, you might think, oh, I'll never be in an ambulance. I'll maybe take one once in my life. That one time Susie broke her foot or something. But we have to understand, thousands of ambulances are going out every single day and taking homeless people and putting them in the hospital. And that is costing the city so much money. If you take these people off the streets and you put them in safer environments where they're not exposed to drugs and alcohol as much, you'll see the rate falling sharply, and that is actually going to save people money. Keeping these people off the streets, not only do they deserve it, but it's going to save the city money.
And not to mention the fact that Skid Row in itself, it is a jungle. It has been described as a jungle. There are rules of living there that you wouldn't even imagine, not touching things, not the infections, the diseases. So yes, treatment, hospitals, services that these people require in the long run, giving these people housing, giving these people apartments will make the city safer and save money in the long run. You do have to one has to think about how these homeless vets will be selected. We're talking about 500 apartments to start off with. 2,700 is the number of homeless vets we're told are on the streets of Los Angeles right now. So you'd want to imagine that they have very experienced social workers who can select those that really need it the most and give them that access. Obviously, we've talked before here on The Lip, we know the problem of the lack of pathway from people serving in the military to then coming home. Sometimes they don't even have benefits afterwards because of the way they've ended up leaving the military. If they don't completely see out their time in the military because of injuries or whatnot, they can even sometimes not even receive benefits. We know that there's a huge problem with homeless people not having a route, a safe route, and obviously with PTSD and all the rest of it. So I do think it's very highly commendable that they have found this initial solution, at least to start it off. It's a project that they think could set a precedent for the rest of the country. Nobody else is doing anything like this around the rest of the country. To me, it's a no-brainer, especially when you have rundown motels like this. Further financing is expected to come from Proposition 41. They're talking around $600 million in bond money to fund housing for poor and homeless vets. But this is an immediate solution, at least for 500 apartments, turning nuisance motels into housing for homeless vets.